guys ready to rock and roll? That's the way to open the meeting, right? Here you go. It being 7 o'clock, we're going to start our annual town meeting here in North Brookfield. Do we have a quorum? Yes, we have a quorum. Excellent. I'm advised by the town clerk that we have a quorum. It being 7 o'clock and this meeting having been legally posted by the constables, I commence this 2025 annual town meeting here on June 13th. And this is being called to order. I can bang as many times as I want, I guess, right? My name is Sheila Orsi. I'm your new town moderator. Again, I thank you all for voting for me, and I'm happy to be here. And I decided that whenever I start this meeting, I've come to just help out. So whenever anybody wants to run for this position in the future, you're welcome to it, okay? There are emergency exits, so make sure that you're very aware of them per the North Brookfield Fire Chief. I would ask that if you're a non-registered voter, that you take some seats on the outside edges, and most of the voters be in the middle. So if you are a voter and you've registered, I assume you have your band on your hand. If you can show me that you've got that, that would be amazing. Thank you. And I would ask that people that have the bands on their hands be the only people that put their hands up during a vote, because technically registered voters are the only ones that can do that. If you have any cell phones, I ask that you silence those now, just in case. And if you do have any questions or you need to stop during a motion or an article and you want to talk about something or ask a question, we ask that you go up to the microphone, state your name and your address. Only registered voters are allowed to ask questions and ask for some information. But we do ask that you go up to the microphone. If you are unable to get to a microphone, let us know and we can bring a microphone to you as well. If you are able to, we would ask that everybody would please rise and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'm going to take a moment. We get to do some announcements. And I just becoming a town moderator newly, I got to take a moderator class just a little bit before this meeting. And a lot of the moderators in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts are contributing to what they're calling a spark of revolution. Revolution. So what that means is this is the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, and a lot of them are talking about their towns and how town meetings started and how it's really important to our Commonwealth and to our government. So if you can give me a minute, I got a little story for you. So I do want to preface that with this, the fact that most of the information in the writing is written from Brandon Avery, who is our town historian. And thank you so much for some of the information that you gave me, Brandon. And if you get a chance to go down to the Historical Museum, I highly suggest you do. There's some really cool stuff about North Brookfield in there, and he's super knowledgeable. Also, Bart Wendell from the Petersham, he's the Petersham moderator. He also had a lot to do with this. So I did kind of steal his stuff and told him I was going to steal some of it. So, town meeting is a cornerstone of the American form of governance. North Brookfield held our own first official town meeting in 1812 on March 10th. But 38 years prior, something amazing yet very controversial happened in 1774. North Brookfield at the time was designated as the second parish of Brookfield. So let me tell you a story. A dramatic test for town meeting occurred in 1773. The Crown badly needed to raise additional funds from the colonies to pay the cost of ongoing wars, and also knew that it was losing its grip on the colonies and on Massachusetts in particular, and particularly west of Boston. That would be us. So the so-called intolerable acts followed a punishment for the Tea Party, followed by Massachusetts Government Act, which stripped the colony of local autonomy. This was all a step too far for the people out west and throughout Massachusetts. In 1773, resistance to British imperial policy was regularly debated and coordinated right here in a town meeting across Massachusetts. In fact, in a letter from the town of Brookfield to the town of Boston, I quote, "We fully agree with you in sentiment relating to Great Britain that it is the indispensable duty of every lover of his country to exert himself in every loyal and constitutional way to ward off the impending evil. This town will ever be ready to assist." Although things remained calm at the time, simmering groups of voters had regularly gathered in secrecy across the Commonwealth to agree on resistance to the increasing rebellious sentiment of town meeting. These men were in contact with British officials, providing ongoing surveillance of town meetings. In other words, they were spying on their neighbors. Meanwhile, the Crown, in an attempt to get a handle on things, moved to replace all of the loyally appointed sitting judges with new appointees of its choices. In a spontaneous but organized response, in Great Barrington, 1,500 colonists gathered to bar the courthouse doors. 2 weeks later, 3,000 did the same in the Springfield courthouse, and then in Worcester, 4,600 militia, including 216 from our own very Brookfield right here, of which we're an active part of, barred the courthouse doors there in Worcester. And at each of these locations, these almost judges were caused to walk back through the crowds with their hats literally in hand, apologizing for their actions. Note very specifically, the militia carried no weapons beyond the weapon of humiliation. At a Brookfield town meeting in December of the same year, it was voted unanimously that this town will do fully approve of the Association of the Continental Congress and that they will strictly adhere to the same in all respects. This was the true birthing of the American Revolution, in a form and style decided upon and modeled by town meetings, just like us, right here, right now. This town of North Brookfield, you likely chose to live here, love here, and be a part of this town. We locally have the power to make our world the way we truly want it to be. On this 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, town meeting is the cornerstone of freedom. We come together in all of our diverse cultures, family traditions, ethnicities, and spiritual beliefs to decide how we want to live in this community. If you are either here today at this meeting, or listening on television, or watching this on YouTube after the fact, which means you truly care about this amazing town that we call North Brookfield, I challenge you to start a revolution of participation by joining a board, a committee, the fire department, or by helping in your own little neighborhood by tidying up a corner or a sidewalk or helping out in some way. Even just going down to our local businesses and making sure that we support them. That is a really great way to help to participate in town. We all need each other, and many hands make for little work. So thank you for being a part of this 213th annual town meeting today. Now, we have one of two more quick announcements. We want to thank and honor someone here at this town meeting who has dedicated much of their life to town meeting. In fact, my predecessor, Jim Caldwell, was so inspired by this individual that he dedicated 12 years of his own life as our town moderator. We want to thank Kathy Crevier for her years as our town moderator and wish her well as she plans to move from North Brookfield to sunny Florida this year to be with her family. Thank you so much, Kathy. Thanks, Kathy. And I want to welcome Jason Petratus up to the speaker. He has our 213th annual town meeting dedication.
Good evening, everybody. So our town reports are usually ready for this meeting and for the election previous, but they're not going to be ready till Wednesday or Thursday, and there will be announcements going out to let you know when they're available. So what we're going to do, they're already posted to the website, but tonight we're going to read the dedications that are inside that upcoming town report. The first one is for James Caldwell. Jim and his wife Alex moved to North Brookfield in the early 1990s, and it didn't take long for him to get involved with his new town. He became a member of St. Joseph's Church and became active serving during services. Jim quickly became interested in serving the town and our government. Over the years in North Brookfield, Jim has worn many hats as well as being a student of our town's history. In 2000, Jim was appointed to the COA and the Board of Health, as well as the Planning Board, which he was elected to following his appointment. In 2001, Jim was elected to the Board of Selectmen and resigned from the Planning Board shortly thereafter. While on the Board of Selectmen, he actively participated in many construction projects and government stewardship. Jim advocated strenuously for the repairing of the town hall building and spent many hours of his own time repairing and refinishing the meeting room inside the building. In 2007, Jim's wife Alex was elected to the school committee, where she advocated for the schools and completed her term in 2010. In 2008, Jim resigned from the Board of Selectmen. In 2010, Jim was elected to the Board of Health and served in that capacity until the end of his term in 2013. 2013 saw Jim elected as the town moderator, filling a vacancy left by his friend and mentor Eugene Kai's retirement from the position. He served as moderator until this year. Jim currently serves on the Bay Path Regional School Committee. He still makes himself available to advocate for his adopted town and community of friends. Thank you, Mr. Caldwell, for your service to North Brookfield, and most of all, your friendship. All right. So the other acknowledgement in the town report is for Lisa Morgan. We, the Board of Selectmen, like to memorialize people that have contributed to the well-being of our town. In this year's report, we would like to mention Lisa Morgan. Lisa was a friendly soul who always had an upbeat personality. She worked for North Brookfield at the transfer station and always had a smile and warm welcome for everyone she encountered there. There wasn't a holiday or event that went by without Lisa wearing a hat or outfit to celebrate and make people smile or laugh on that day. And she was always quick to hand out dog treats to our furry friends. We're missing a couple sentences on this sheet, but it ends with a thank you to Randy Morgan for sharing his wife with us.
Would there be anybody else that has any kind of announcements relating to the town that they want to let us know about? Okay. So just so you know who's up here, we've got Mary Beth Kolarski. She is our town administrative assistant to the Board of Selectmen. We've also got Ralph Kay, who is our Board of Selectmen, Jamie Gilman, Board of Selectmen, and Jason Petratus as our Board of Selectmen, Chair of the Board of Selectmen, I believe. Yes. And then we also have Tara Hayes, who is our town clerk, and Jim Caldwell is the former moderator who is helping me and whispering in my ear in case I say something I'm not supposed to, which it's Friday, so hopefully I say everything I'm supposed to today. With that being said, I just want to make sure that everybody has a copy of the articles tonight. We have some lengthy ones, and we're hoping not to have to read them fully and just call them out as written, so we're hoping that you have them in your hands so you can kind of look them over. Does everybody have a copy of the warrant? Okay, can we make sure that if you need them, that you have them? We have them up front. We'll make sure that you've got some. If you think that you need one, could you raise your hand and maybe we can get some over to you? Anybody else? Okay. Just want to call on the Finance Committee to see if they have any type of report that they'd like to give for this evening before we start our annual town meeting reading of the articles. Yeah, I don't know if you got that running down there, or if it's on. I think Corey checked them all. Maybe he just needs to turn it on from down there. Here. You know what? You can have mine. That's good. I think Jim's going to make you do it again, Joe. We all want to hear your sweet voice, okay?
Hello, okay. So the Finance Committee has reviewed all the articles, as well as the budget for fiscal '26, and we are in agreement with the budget that is being presented tonight by the Board of Selectmen. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joe. All right, with that being said, we will get into the articles here. Article number 1. Did I miss something? You read? What? Yeah. Okay. Article number 1, to hear and act upon the reports of the selectmen and town officials and boards, or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to hear and act upon the reports of the selectmen and town officials and boards.
Do I have a second? Okay. Thank you.
After they vote,
Yeah.
you have to have them agree to, they have to vote on doing the as-written part.
Yes.
We didn't do that yet.
Okay.
You just asked them. You didn't have them vote on it.
Fair enough. Okay, I can do that. Is there any discussion on this first article? So we're going to take a vote. Everyone who is in favor of this article, please raise your hands. And any opposed? That article passes. We needed a majority to vote, so we're going to pass that article. So Jason is telling me that we need a vote in order to actually read some of these articles as written. So I'm going to ask if everybody agrees to be able to read some of these articles as written, if I could have a vote in favor of that. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, great. Thanks, guys. That's going to make this go a little quicker. Yes. Article number 2, to see if the town will vote to print the reports of the selectmen and town officials and boards for the year 2025, or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to print the reports of the selectmen and town officials and boards for the year 2025.
Do I have a second? Thank you. I have a second. Anybody have anything to say about that? Do we have any discussion? Anything at all? Thank you. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? That passes with a majority vote. Thank you. Article number 3, to see if the town will vote to fix the salaries of all elected and appointed officials of the town and determine what sums of money will be raised, appropriated, borrowed, or transferred in the treasury to defray the charges and expenses of the town for the 12-month period beginning July 1st, 2025, including a reserve fund under the control of the Finance Committee, or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sums of money as written for salaries and expenses to operate the following departments for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025. Town Moderator, Selectmen, Finance Committee, Accountant, Assessors, Treasurer, Collector, Town Clerk, Conservation, CMRPC, Planning Board and ZBA, and further move to transfer the sum of $298,995.47 from stabilization and $90,000 from free cash to group insurance, as written.
Do I have a second? Just so everyone is aware, this article number 3 has been split into 4 different motions, just because there's different parts that go to different things. So this is the first motion out of 4 that tend to come. So we'll be voting on the first motion. We need a 2/3 vote. So I would ask that all who are in favor, please. Oh, did you want to discuss this prior? Okay. Learning something new every minute. Oh God, they're gonna make me read numbers. I'm terrible at this, just so you know. No, it's okay, I can handle it. I think it's 5 million, right? Total for this motion is $5,560,468.59. Do we have any discussion on this motion? Any discussion at all? All in favor, if you could raise your hands? No. Oh, Kathy, sorry, you got a question. Great question. I asked the same thing. That would be Sheila. And can I say Kathy Crivier? What's your address, Kathy? Oh, you're right down the street from me. Kathy's on Ward Street. What number are you? Okay. Somewhere on Ward Street. Got it. Sheila LeBlanc is our town accountant, so she can give us our number.
Sheila
on that.
LeBlanc, 58 Shore Road. Kathy, can you hear me? Okay. The balance as of right now in the general stabilization is $1,360,469.75.
Good. Chet, do you have a question? If you go to the next page, at the bottom before the next motion comes up, it's right at the bottom just before that next motion comes up. You got it. Anybody else have anything? Go ahead, Kathy. Yes. Just in case anybody can't hear, Kathy's asking if there's a certain number or amount that is recommended for us to not go under for stabilization, and why.
So according to our financial advisor, we really want to maintain our stabilization at about $1 million. It's frowned upon to be taking big sums of money out. It will reflect poorly in our ratings when we go to do final borrowing for police fire projects and whatever have you. So that, you know, our target should be $1 million, if not more.
Thank you, Sheila. Hi, we have another question.
Yes, Nancy Waldron, 19 Gilbert Street. I'm noticing that we have 9, I believe it's 9, maybe 7, sorry, maturing debt that starts with a junior, senior high school and ends with WWTP upgrade, somewhere in the range of about $800,000. Do we have a sense for when these debts will mature?
Do we have, Sheila, do you happen to have that? She's the treasurer? No, she's the accountant. Who? Allison. Oh. Sheila, you're going to get your steps in today.
Oh, happily so. The fire highway is currently on a ban, which is a bond anticipation note, so we have to reborrow that each year until we do the final borrowing, sorry. And that hopefully will be done next spring. The wastewater treatment plant, we did do the final borrow with USDA. Are you all sitting down? The wastewater treatment plant looks to be paid off in 2060. The high school is 2026, actually, I believe the last interest payment is in May. The library is in 2027. Police station is 2028. The school roof is 2032. The Horse Pond Dam is 2048. And the highway building where we bought Huck's is 2037. The school windows is 2036. And then there's a separate borrowing that the sewer users only pay for a sewer project, and that's 2032.
Thank you, Sheila. Any other questions on this article? First motion of this article? Okay, I'd like to take a vote. We need a 2/3 vote in order for this motion to pass. All in favor, please raise your hands, your bands. And all opposed? Looks like that passes. Where did it go? One opposed. Okay. Did we have the article? Am I passing it over? The motion? Did you take it? No. No. You guys have it? Oh, okay. Article number 3, do we have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sums of money as written for salaries and expenses to operate the following departments for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025. Police, fire, building inspector, plumbing and gas inspector, wiring inspector, North Brookfield Emergency Management, and tree warden. Total for this motion, $977,488.16.
Thanks for reading that, Jason. You're welcome. Second. It's been first and seconded. Do we have any discussion on this article? Any at all? Kathy? On the fire sale. How many people are on the fire department? Chief?
Darren Anderson, Fire Chief, 8 Stoddard Place. We have about 28 members right now on the department.
You can ask another question.
How many incidents, calls? And the state goes by the calendar year, and last calendar year we had 373 calls, which was almost 100 calls more than the year before. And it's just getting worse and worse. We just literally did 3 calls tonight trying to get to the meeting here.
Do we have any other discussion? Any other questions? Okay. We need a majority vote for this motion to pass. All in favor, please raise your hands, your bands. All opposed? Looks like majority for me. Do we have that motion? I have it right here. The motion passes. Thank you. On article number 3, do we have another motion? This would be the 3rd motion in your book.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the following sums of money as written for salaries and expenses to operate the school department for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025. Total for this motion is $7,779,991.04.
Do I have a second? It's been first and seconded. Do we have any discussion on this motion at all? Any at all? Okay. We need a majority vote for this to pass. All in favor, please raise your bands. All opposed? That looks like a majority. Motion passes. And on Article number 3, do we have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the following sums of money as written for salaries and expenses to operate the following departments for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025. Highway, Board of Health, Cemetery, Council on Aging, Veterans, Library, Playground, and Town Park. Total for this motion, $1,145,531.20. Total for the general fund operating budget, $15,463,478.99.
Do I have a second? Is there any discussion on this article or motion? Any discussion at all? All right, we need a majority vote for this one to pass. If you're in favor, I would ask that you raise your band hands. And all opposed? Thank you, motion passes. Article number 4, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, borrow, or transfer a sum of money to operate the water department for the 12-month period beginning July 1st, 2025, under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half, or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate the following sums as written to operate the water department for the 12-month period beginning July 1st, 2025, under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half. Total for this motion, $809,897.
Do I have a second? Is there any discussion? Any discussion at all? We need a majority for this to pass. Can I have a raise of hands for all those who approve of this motion and all those who oppose this motion? Motion passes. Thank you. The glasses on, glasses off thing is a lot. Article number 5, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, borrow, or transfer a sum of money to operate the sewer department for the 12-month period beginning July 1st, 2025, under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half, or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote and appropriate.
You got this, Jamie.
Okay, I'm start over.
Okay.
Okay. I move that the town vote appropriate the following sums as written to operate the sewer department for the 12-month period beginning July 1st, 2025, under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half. The total for this motion, including transfer, is $1,349,522.75.
Thank you, Jamie. Do I have a second? Do we have any discussion on Article number 5, motion number 5? Oh, we do.
Nancy Waldron, 19 Gilbert Street. I had a question on, where is it? Sewer debt, $228,000, sewer interest, $148,000. How is that different from the wastewater treatment plan debt that we have?
Sheila or Eric? You guys can toss it in the air there.
The construction for the upgrade of the wastewater treatment plant was split between taxpayers and sewer users. So this part of the debt is from the sewer users. The one we voted on previously was from the tax base.
Do we have any other questions or information? Anything at all? All right, we need a majority vote for this to pass. I would ask for your raise of your bands in order to vote. All in favor? Anybody that is opposed? All right, that motion passes. Thank you. Article number 6, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept gifts, bequests, and donations of money and real and personal property given to the town or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept gifts, bequests, and donations of money and real and personal property given to the town.
Do I have a second? Oh, I heard that. Jason? Was that you? Okay. Do we have any discussion on this motion? Any at all? Kathy?
The general fund.
Any other questions? You good, Kathy? Is that good? Okay. All right, any at all? We need a majority vote in order for this article to pass. I would ask all that are in favor, please raise your band hands. And all opposed, that motion passes. Article number 7, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into any and all necessary lease agreements and other dispositions of personal property or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into any and all necessary lease agreements and other dispositions of personal property.
Do I have a second? Second. It's been first and seconded. Is there any discussion on that motion? Any at all? I would ask that all who are in favor, please raise your hand. And all opposed? That motion passes. Article number 8, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to apply for and expend funds that may be available from state and federal grants or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to apply for and expend funds that may be available from state and federal grants.
It's been first and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Any at all? All in favor of this motion passing, please raise your hands. All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Article number 9, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Water Commissioners to apply for and expend funds that may be available from state and federal grants or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Water Commissioners to apply for and expend funds that may be available from state and federal grants.
Do I have a second? I do. Is there any discussion? Any at all? All in favor of this motion, please raise your hands. And all opposed? That motion passes. Article number 10, to see if the town will vote to give the town treasurer the authority to invest town funds, general cash, water enterprise funds, and sewer enterprise funds in short-term investments as the treasurer deems prudent for income purposes or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to give the town treasurer the authority to invest town funds, general cash, water enterprise funds, and sewer enterprise funds in short-term investments as the treasurer deems prudent for income purposes.
Do I have a second? Second. It's been first and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any questions? Any at all? Yep. If you don't mind going to the microphone and let us know your name and your address, that would be helpful.
Andy Wewell, 8 Cider Mill. Just what sort of short-term investments? I'm just curious.
Allison, do you want to take that one? Okay. Do you mind? That way everybody can hear you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Allison Belger, 19 Elm Street, Town Treasurer. We've utilized different CDs. We invest some of the general fund. We have some of the trust funds in different CDs.
Any other questions or discussion? We need a majority vote in order for this to pass. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? That motion passes. Article number 11, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell and transfer titles in the name of the town of North Brookfield to any properties or lands obtained through the legally acquired tax title foreclosures or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell and transfer titles in the name of the town of North Brookfield to any properties or lands obtained through legally acquired tax title foreclosures.
Do we have a second? Thanks, Jamie. It's been first and seconded. Are there any questions or any discussion? Any at all? We need a majority vote in order to pass this motion. All in favor, please raise your hands. And all opposed? That motion passes. All right, just to let you all know, we're going to take Article number 12, and we're moving that to be our very last article. The reason being is that there are 2 line items that are on the article that we need to see if those go through. So there's 2 at the bottom, and they're the last 2 articles that we have. So we're going to move this one to the last so that we can rearrange that if we need to. So we're going to move on to Article 13. Article 13. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, borrow, or transfer from available funds a sum of money to the North Brookfield Emergency Squad for payment of contracted services or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $110,000 to the North Brookfield Emergency Squad Service Contract Account, and further move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $68,000 to the North Brookfield Emergency Squad for ALS services for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025. Total for this motion, $178,000.
Second?
It's been first and seconded. Do we have any questions or discussion? Thank you. Thank you. Any at all? We need a majority vote in order to pass this motion. All in favor, please raise your hands. And all opposed? That motion passes. Article number 14. To see if the town will vote to accept a sum of money as the town's apportionment. To see if the town will vote to accept a sum of money as the town's apportionment of fiscal year 2026 Chapter 90 funds or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to accept the sum of $533,348.66 as the town's apportionment of fiscal year 26 Chapter 90 funds.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Any discussion at all? We need a majority vote in order to pass this motion. All in favor, please raise your hands. And all opposed? That motion passes. Article number 15. To see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen, on behalf of the town, to petition the general court for passage of a special law substantially as provided below. The legislature may make clerical or editorial changes in form only to the bill, unless the Board of Selectmen approves amendments to the bill before enactment by the legislature. The Board of Selectmen is hereby authorized to approve amendments that shall be within the scope of the general public objectives of this petition, or take any other action relative thereto. As printed below is the information that would be updated. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen on behalf of the town to petition the general court for passage of a special law allowing print-free digital legal notices for the town of North Brookfield as written.
Do I have a second? It's been first and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any discussion at all? Kathy? Kathy is asking what this motion is all about. Tara is going to come up and give us an answer.
Tara Hayes, Town Clerk. Right now, the town has to spend money for legal notices, the things printed in the paper for public hearings and things like that. We can now save money from doing that by, there's going to be a special page on our website for legal notices, and they will be published there rather than in the paper. Is that good? Any
Okay.
other questions?
Yep, we got another question.
Craig Arnold, 98 Downey Road. How is it going to impact people who do not have coverage of getting onto the line to see these notifications on the website? There are many people who still do not have that kind of activity.
That's fine. What we would do, abutters to any legal notices that there are changes for, such as if there is a poll hearing, to put a new telephone pole on your road, you would, as an abutter, you would get a mailed copy of the
So you'll
notice
still be
anyway.
You'll still be getting paper
Yes.
notifications
It just, we
to
won't be
people who are-
paying
Okay.
for the publication in the New Leader or the Quabog Current.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Hi, Bruce Arnold from 94 Summer Street. I'm just curious, this is going to impact the way notices are given to the general town population. However, this is not, we're not going to be publishing in general like we're supposed to, according to Mass General laws, to media outlets?
For the legal notices, we won't be anymore. This is, other towns are doing it, and it's all approved by the Mass General law. We just needed to accept the special act for the legislature to allow us to do that.
Okay, one more question if I could. What is the cost to place an ad in local media outlets?
Poll hearings, I want to say the last bill I saw was $164.
Per outlet or per media outlet?
That's for the New Leader.
Okay, and for
And
other-
that's the only place we advertise. We only have to put it in one paper.
Okay,
And that's where we've been putting all the legal notices for quite a few years now, because it is less expensive. But I'd say we're spending, guesstimate, over $1,000 a year on legal notices,
okay.
depending on the year. I mean, it's only $1,000, but it's $1,000 more for something else.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? I hope I explained that well. I'm gonna
Thanks, Tara.
You're welcome.
All right, any other discussion? It sounds like we're pretty good. We need a majority vote in order to pass this motion. Oh, you do have a question? No, okay, ready to go, excellent. All in favor to pass this motion, please raise your hands, and all opposed. And that motion passes, thank you. Article number 16, to see if the town will vote to amend the general bylaws of the town, Section 17F, by adding a new section to establish a tobacco control revolving fund for use by the Board of Health under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44. I don't know what that symbol is. Section? Subsection. Oh, you learn something new every single day. Chapter 44, subsection 53E and a half, or take any other action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend the Town of North Brookfield General Bylaws, Section 17F, by adding a new section to establish a tobacco control revolving fund for use by the Board of Health under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, subsection 53E and 1/2.
It's been first and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Any discussion at all? We need, oh, yep, one question. Okay.
Craig Arnold, 98 Downey Road. What does this imply? What's it covering?
What is this covering? Ethan from the Board of Health is coming up.
In Malad, 17 Ashley Road, Board of Health. So this is a fund created in order to receive revenue from tobacco sales violations if they were to occur, and then it just allows us, the fund, to be able to use it for program related to tobacco use or any other inspectional services that we might need. Right now we have a grant-funded program that's giving us the inspectional services, but that won't be around forever.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussions? Kathy? Kathy's asking what is a tobacco use violation?
Not tobacco use, but tobacco sales violation. Tobacco sales violation. So if a retail establishment sells to an underage buyer or sells a product that's not allowed by state law.
Any other questions or discussions? Okay, we need a 2/3 vote because this is a bylaw change. So it asks that all that are in favor, please raise your hands. And all that are opposed. That looks like 2/3 to me. That vote passes. Article number 17, to see if the town will vote to amend the general bylaws of the town, Section 17F, by adding a new section to establish a records request revolving fund for use by the police department under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, subsection 53E and a half, or take any action relative thereto. Do I have a motion?
So, explanation first. We have a motion that we're going to read that's a little bit different than the one that you have. And all it is it adds an explanation of the motion afterwards. Madam Moderator, I move that the vote to amend the general bylaws of the town, Section 17F, by adding a new section to establish a records request revolving fund for use by the police department under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, subsection 53E and a half, as follows. There shall be a separate fund called the Records Request Revolving Fund, authorized for use by the police department. The town accountant shall establish this fund as a separate account and credit to the fund all of the fees charged and received by the police department in connection with record requests. During each fiscal year, the police department may incur liabilities against and spend monies from the records request revolving fund for staff, equipment, or other related expenses in connection with public records requests, as well as for the cost of supplies, including but not limited to media devices and postage. The records request revolving fund shall operate for fiscal years that begin on or after July 1st, 2025.
Do I have a second? Second. It's been first and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Yep, we have somebody. Could you come up to the microphone, please? You're a registered voter, yes, sir? Yes. Okay. I can't tell. Come on up.
How
come that isn't folded into the police department's budget? Why did we end up separating it?
And can you state your name and address, please, sir?
Bob Waldron, 19 Gilbert Street.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
It's a, what's that? It's a revolving account, so it has to be voted separately, and it's changed to the general bylaws.
And then how much money will be in that on a regular basis? When you say revolving, what's the limits, the range?
You want Chief to?
How much do you project spending out of that in a year?
Oh, Sheila's coming down.
Or Chief Smith.
Or Chief.
Hi. So the limits are going to be voted in when we go back to Article 12.
Okay.
What's happening is the people are requesting camera things, and so they have to purchase thumb drives and such to meet these requirements. And if they have to charge for the public records, it goes into the general fund, and they don't necessarily have it in their supply line to do all the.
I was just curious about
Yep.
the projections. Like, what do you expect this? Will this grow, or is it just going to be?
Well, they only have it at 250 a year right now.
Okay, yeah. With no upper limit, right?
Well, that's their top limit. They can spend up to 250
Okay.
based on this meeting, on
Yeah,
this vote.
it was just confusing. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Do we have any other questions or discussions? All right, this is also a change to our bylaws, so we would need a 2/3 vote to pass this. So I would ask that all that are in favor, please raise your hands, and all that are opposed. And it looks like that passes. If we could go back to Article number 12. Article number 12, to see if the town will vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, to establish the following fiscal year 26 spending limits for revolving funds listed in Chapter 2, Section 17 of the North Brookfield bylaws as printed below. Do we have a motion? Or take any action relative thereto? Do we have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, to establish the following FY26 spending limits for revolving funds listed in Chapter 2, Section 17 of the North Brookfield bylaws as follows. Council on Aging, $15,000. Council on Aging Senior Wheels, $7,000. Fire Training Center, $7,500. Planning Board Engineering Service, $8,000. Cemetery Department, $15,000. Board of Health, Public Health Services, $5,000. Board of Health Vacant Properties, $25,000. Board of Health Trash Bags, $35,000. That's a lot of money. Building permits, $12,000. Electrical permits, $15,000. Plumbing and gas permits, $10,000. Safety inspections, $5,000. Storage units, $10,000. Board of Health Tobacco Control, $25,000. And finally, Police Department records request, $250.
Do I have a second? It's been first and seconded. Do we have any discussion? We do? Hold on one second, Kathy.
Go ahead, Kathy. You sure? Okay, all right. Nancy Waldron, again, 19 Gilbert. I'm sure everybody's probably getting pretty sick and tired of me by now. Couple questions. Council on Aging, $15,000. What does this entail?
Courtney, do you want to come up and let them know what you do?
And the second question I had while she's up is Council on Aging Senior Wheels, $7,000. What that's for?
Well, those are both for you, Courtney. You've got 2 questions on the floor.
Courtney Rivera, 6 Benoit Street, Senior Center Director. So the revolve account is what we use to, like if we get money in, any revenue, that's what goes. That's where the revolve account, that's where that money goes. And the senior wheels account, honestly, we do not use that. I actually, when I submitted my budget, I requested to take that out. We no longer use that program.
So can we take that out of the budget at this point?
Hold on one second. Sheila, did you have something you wanted to make a request about?
Courtney, this is a separate account. We did take out the senior wheels expense line. This is a revolve account that is still active, that has money in there. It's totally separate. And just to kind of clarify, when there's a foot clinic, they collect so much from the seniors, that goes into the revolve, and that's what's used to pay for the foot clinic. They also do it, I think, for like aerobics or yoga or whatever they do, more than I do, but little things like that, they use it to offset those expenses.
Okay, and that's separate from the Friends of the,
They have a gift account, which any Friends organization is outside of the town. It's not held in our bank accounts. They do have a gift account, which if the Friends make a donation for a specific event or item, it goes into the gift, and they charge that expense, the gift account for that expense. And
I still have questions.
Sure.
There's a lot in here.
Yeah.
I'm a numbers guy, so I apologize.
Absolutely. It's always good to have questions.
Yep. Board of Health vacant properties, $25,000. Can I get an explanation on what that is?
To be honest, I think it's mislabeled. Sheila, I might be wrong. Is that actually Recycle Revolve? Regardless, I'll also say we very rarely, except for our Recycle Revolve, which takes in revenue from some of the fees at the recycling center. For the most part, they are there only for emergency uses. And like other people have said, it's just revenue in, and then this is the max spend, so it's not in our general, in our budget, if that makes sense.
Okay. So some of these numbers then are positives and some of these numbers are negatives? So in other words, some of it's an expense and some of it is revenue?
Sorry, what did you say?
So some of these numbers in here, and I apologize, so some of these numbers are expenses and some of these are revenue?
No,
Okay.
what this is we have to authorize the total expenditure out of that revolve
Okay,
if the money's in there. If they don't have the money, they can't expend anymore.
got it.
And this is the maximum they can spend out of that revolve per year.
Okay, so some of this stuff is things that are being charged and some of these is money coming in and the net is
Yep,
the
and it's
25.
filtering through a separate account.
Cool, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Kathy? Are these the storage units down at the highway barn on Donovan Road?
Yes.
How many?
I'm not sure how many are being used right now. Do you know how many there are exactly? Because some of them aren't in good shape. Some of them are being used, and some of them are being used by the town. We've been talking about that. We don't know yet. Because there's a liability with having the units there. We might have to build a fence around them in order to keep them open. So there's
makes sense.
different legal issues that we're working on to see if we can actually keep them or not.
Any other questions or discussion? Yep, could you come up to the microphone for me?
Hi, my name is Carol Hawkins, and I'm on 5 Donovan Road. The big fat cat here is the $35,000 for the trash bags. Tell me what that's about. We can spend $35,000 on trash bags? Is that what we're saying?
So I've got Ethan here from the Board of Health to answer that.
Yeah, that's right. So we have we previously had in our budget, a budget line to pay for trash bags. So the purple bags that everybody uses, we buy them, and then we resell them, and it offsets the cost. What ended up happening is we never knew how many exactly we were going to sell per year, so we very frequently had to come back to the town to put in another order because we had exceeded our budget. So rather than,
$35,000 worth of trash bags over what you were budgeted for?
no, not 35,000 over. So previously, we had a budget of, I think, like 18-ish, and we were routinely going over that, coming back to the town. So we created this account to deposit our revenue from the trash bags into and be able to purchase bags when we needed them out of that. So it's a maximum spend of 35,000. We don't expect to spend that much, but if all of a sudden we add.
Yeah, that's a fat cat.
So, but just also to be clear, it's not like there's money in there that's just sitting there. We're not holding on to it if it's not spent for, and it's only usable for those bags.
Okay. All right. I'm sure others are asking themselves the same thing, 35 Gs for
No, they're
trash
expensive.
bags?
And the costs have just gone up year after year, so.
All right. Well, thanks for the information.
Okay, any other discussion? Any other questions? Okay, we need a majority vote in order to pass this. We need 2/3. We had it down as yeah. No, we're good. We need a majority. So I would ask that all those who are in favor of passing this motion, please raise your hands. And all of those who are opposed. And that motion passes. Thank you very much. Oh, would you like it? There you go. Is there any other business that needs to be done here before we end our annual town meeting? Motion first and seconded to adjourn. We're dissolving this meeting? Yes. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you. You have to vote it? Oh, wait, we got to vote it. I'm getting used to this. All those in favor to dissolve our meeting this evening, and all those opposed. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.